Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for being here. So we are doing this conversation on Built to Last, Beck's vision for the next generation. And so you're pretty well recognized and well known, but it might be good if you just kind of maybe do a little bit of an introduction of here's who I am and here's what I do at Beck's. And then maybe talk about, so we only have a few hours left of Becknology Days 2025. So maybe talk about the moments during Becknology Days that has been defining for you. So a really cool moment or something that's meant something to you over the month of August as we've done 10 Becknology Days. Scott, you can kick us off.
So I'm Scott Beck, serve as president. Been around this place 60 years. That's my age. So let me think. What I shared in the other conversation was my first memory of the field day would have been when I was about 3 years old, and I had a playhouse in the side yard next to the White House. It was about an 8x10 size playhouse, and they moved that to the edge of the cornfield where the test plot was, and they served coffee and donuts out of that playhouse. And at first I wondered, why are they taking my playhouse away? But it all was good when I got to have a donut. Gosh, you hit me on the spot here with what stands out as far as all of Becknology Days. I think this has been an amazing month as a whole, as we've had prior to today, or Becknology Days at Atlanta, we've had a 17% increase in the number of attendees, which includes our new Kansas location. We've had absolutely beautiful weather every day. And so I can't think of a more ideal month than the culmination of all of these days and the size of the crowds that we've had.
Amen. I did hear on Thursday we served 200 dozen donuts just Thursday morning. So you remember how many dozen went through your little playhouse 45 years ago, 65 years ago, whatever?
I really don't, but I'm sure we didn't.
Not 200 dozen.
No, not 200 dozen. We might have served 200 donuts if everybody had 4.
Yeah.
It's probably about 50 people there.
Well, I'm Chris Beck. I currently serve as our facilities project lead, so kind of new construction and remodel construction, things like that. Defining moment for me, I think, in the month of August is, it's a massive team effort to have the events, across our marketing territory and especially here in Atlanta. And so it's kind of defining for me just with our internal team to be able to look around and see everybody, chipping in, helping out in order to put on this event for our customers, in order, to connect with them relationally. And, it's a blessing to see everybody chip in that way. So.
Chris, it's a true story. I watched you walk across, and when I say walk, I mean kind of walk across the concrete parking lot this week, and there were sparks and some smoke like coming out of the heels of your shoes. I don't know where you're headed, but another place really fast.
Fast walker.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm Jason Beck. I work as a seat advisor and cover about 10 to 12 counties, basically from here west to the Indiana-Illinois state line. Work with 2 other seat advisors in the company, Josh Streetmatter and Jason Kennedy. Fantastic team to work with. I think my defining moment probably hasn't been at Becknology Days, like the last couple days. It's been all the pre-work that our dealers and sales team, sales staff does in preparation for Becknology Days, and just the opportunity that they see to bring people in and experience who we are as an organization, and then all the work that our employees do here at the home site. I've had the chance to be out on the sales force, and I don't spend a lot of time here at the home base anymore. So it's just been really cool to see all of the work across the whole entire company, sales staff, and internal employees that are really make all this happen. And we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our customers. So.
I love your perspective, Jason, and we'll talk about it here in the next 20 minutes or so. But, we're like counting donuts and figuring out how to make the place pretty. And you're talking about how to bring customers and dealers in, which is kind of an important part to this whole thing. So appreciate your perspective.
Good afternoon. I'm Corey Beck, and I serve in a business and supplier strategy role. So that gives me a chance to work with our suppliers from a product access standpoint, and really thinking strategically about our business in that way, and then also oversee the Commitment Rewards program. So those are the things that keep me busy in my my daily role here. I would say I'll pick one moment since nobody else did. But I would share a lot of similar sentiments as what they said about just the whole month and preparation and the teamwork. But one moment that was cool for me yesterday was I did stop and watch the unveiling of the root box yesterday morning. And so watching Kevin Colbert and Jim Schwartz and Scott Speck do that, and just there was a significant crowd of people around that root box as they cut open the wrap, and just that new research, that approach that we're taking there, trying to learn some new things. That was notable for me.
It's been a highlight at every show. Yeah, it's pretty cool to watch that happen. Okay, so I wrote these questions well in advance, and I was reviewing them earlier today. And Scott, this question is for you. And I had to chuckle at the way that I wrote the question. So the title of this segment is talking about the vision going forward and what you see for future generations. And we've talked about that a lot. And in here I said, so let's start with a simple question of what is your vision for this next generation and beyond. And it's not a simple question. It's a pretty big, grand vision, but we've talked about it a lot. We've talked about what you see for the future. If you'd be willing to just kind of share a little bit about that, and has that vision changed at all as the boys have gotten deeper into the business, and maybe you've kind of gotten further at a broader view?
The place I come back to on that is what we've shared as far as our 50-year vision. And I think it speaks to a lot of different areas. The 50-year vision says, and really how this evolved or came about was our leadership team was on a retreat in 2021. We had a speaker come in and lead us through a discussion about mission drift, which is what happens when the people in the company no longer kind of follow the guidance of the founder and how things were done and what they valued and appreciated. And so and he asked us, what do we want people to say about Beck's 50 years from now? So long past the time that we're here working and can affect it. And so what I shared was, I would hope that people would say that the people at Beck's are the best people I work with in any company I do business with. They care about me, my family. They help me do what I do. They honor God, and the family takes care of its employees. So I hope that 50 years from now, these boys would be close to my age. Maybe some of their kids are in the business, and that there would be a realization that what I believe is true today is still being seen and experienced and lived out at that time.
So you guys have heard this vision 100 times, at this point. Scott's talked about it quite a bit. When you think about that being his desire for the future, what do you feel like you three need to do in order to see that vision come to life and make that a reality as you continue to lead and influence this company?
For me, it's be authentic be exactly who God created me to be. There's you could feel some pressure of the weight, the size, the scale of the business. You could take and feel the pressure of that, or there's also something that's a little bit freeing or liberating in that 50-year vision that actually relieves some of that pressure and pushes you towards just living out God's calling, being authentic to just who I am or who these guys are, because it's really not about us or everything that we bring to the table or all of the ways that we want to change things or move things. It's more about us as a whole, and that 50-year vision can allow us to maximize the skills that we have, the talents that we have, and then depend on the people around us to meet that vision. So I like the vision because it is a way for me to take pressure and actually channel it into just authenticity.
I would say, for me, I'll hit on two things. This is not an all-encompassing answer by any means, but number one would be recruitment. So that's what I spent my first 2.5 years at Beck's doing, was handling recruiting as an organization, and so that's critical moving forward as we continue to grow, making sure that we're bringing in the right people, and a lot of times we call it finding the right seat on the bus for them. So number one, we want to bring the right person in. Usually they fall into a category of having a positive attitude and a good work ethic. And so we want to find those right people and then find the right job opportunity that they're going to thrive in and be happy in. So I think recruitment will be a huge piece of that. And then number two is just serving alongside our employees, helping them understand that, and our employees do a fantastic job of this today, but no job is too small for any of us. And so if there's trash on the ground, I'm going to pick it up. If there is chairs that need to be straightened out, I'm gonna straighten them out. And I think that's the attitude that all of our employees have, is that if there's a job that needs done, no one's too good. No one's too good to do that job. And that's a critical point of who we are and how we serve our customers and how we serve each other as employees. So,
yeah, I think the way we accomplish that, work towards that vision is, when Dad talked about the 50-year vision, the thing that stuck out to me in that from day one is that it really doesn't talk anything about us being a seed company. It just talks about serving others and being the best we can for others. And so when I think about that vision, what that means is in 50 years from now, whether we're selling seed or selling sneakers, we're showing up the same way to the table. And so, some of that gets played out in different ways. But the one, if you haven't heard the president's message this year, I was really, really proud of the message that Corey delivered, and talking about, there was 10 non-negotiables as he kind of outlined for who we are and who we aspire to be. And all of those non-negotiables dealt with how we show up, not really from a business standpoint, but how we just show up as individuals and how we honor God and serve others. And so I think if we hold true to those things as the foundational elements of the business, then 50 years from now, as long as we're still holding true to those, again, it won't matter what we're doing from a product standpoint, or for again, whether it's selling seed or selling sneakers, the goal is to help others, to serve others, and to honor God. And so I think holding true to those again, non-negotiables, I think that's what helps us carry out the 50-year vision.
You teed up this next question really well, Chris, because I'd like to go dive just a little bit in each of your worlds and kind of what you're doing right now. And Corey, you started this talk, the non-negotiables, at summer camp, and you shared that message, which would have been in July, and then you and your dad have shared a message on the stage all the month of August, and it has been really well received. It's been, I watched it again this morning, We had some of our family in. We asked them to come in to watch your talk today because it's bigger than Seed and it's bigger than Beck's. It's about, how to live and lead in a pretty powerful way. And it's been received really well. So I'm curious how you feel right now after you've crafted this message and delivered a message that has been so impactful.
I feel probably fortunate to have had the opportunity to share some of the things that I felt like are important for our business and for farmers that we serve to hear and to understand about our business. Besides that, some people have asked me, is it has to be hard to present or share. And to be honest, this is probably the easiest presentation that I've ever done. And I think it's because I felt such a high degree of confidence that this is the message that I wanted to share and that I felt like would resonate with people. And I think it's the right words. It's the words that God placed on my heart and kind of the vision that I felt like was important. So it really hasn't been difficult. It's actually been the easiest presentation I've ever done.
You've done an amazing job. I sit there, especially when you make your declaration of the seventh non-negotiable. And when you say the words, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord and we will boast in Him," I get chills every single time you say it. So just really admire you and appreciate you for leading in that way and making such a profound statement on that stage. So Jason, so November will be 1 year since you made the decision to go into the sales team. And, I think many others are really proud of you for making a decision that isn't necessarily like something you are natural or running towards, like pursuing because you're so passionate about selling, but it was really based out of an interest of getting closer to the farmer, understanding the sales team and what customers or prospects are looking for. So now that we're kind of coming up on this 1 year mark, what have you learned about yourself and what have you learned about serving farmers?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, I think for me, the reason why I chose to, as you kind of alluded to, the reason why I chose to enter the sales organization is because I have a passion for our people, whether that's internally or the farmers that we serve. And so I've found that, my passion may not be selling, but my passion is helping people, and that helps me do what I do in selling. And so there may not be I've really enjoyed the experience of working with our dealers because we have a phenomenal dealer organization. We have just over 1,000 dealers that are very, very good at what they do. And so the opportunity to join them out in the field and learn from their experiences, they've been a tremendous help in my knowledge agronomically and on products and the full scope of what we do as a business. And so it's been really helpful for me to just get a really good grasp of all the things that we're doing as a business to help farmers succeed. It's been a lot of fun to be behind the sales counter and behind the energy of customers coming in to experience what we do as a business. And I think that farmers truly appreciate exactly what Corey's message is about and just who we are as people and how we show up. And so that's what we need to continue to do moving forward. And that's what I'm going to continue to do as I am out there in the field with our customers. So,
while I have you and you have the mic, I got to experience something pretty cool with you, a month or so ago. You shared a story about a customer that's in your area that was maybe going through a difficult situation and because of a farming accident. And you kind of watched the dealer and the sales team, including you, navigate that situation. And you kind of made a declaration of who you think we will be as a company based on that situation. So can you tell us just a little bit about the situation and then what you learned through that?
Yeah, so here over the last year and a half, I've been fortunate enough to be involved in the Indiana Ag Leadership Program, and so met a lot of phenomenal people through that. One of the individuals that's in the program happens to be a Beck's customer, and so I've continued to get to know him. And as we had a culture breakfast, we do that for all of our new employees. So I was sharing, as Bethany kind of mentioned, I was sharing a story of how one of our Beck's dealers showed up in one of the most challenging days of this customer's life, showed up to be a representative of Christ and then also just who he is as a person. So Andrew is this customer's name, and unfortunately his dad was involved in a farming accident in Benton County. And any farming accidents that involve large equipment, are typically never good accidents, and there's very traumatic injuries that happen from those farming accidents. And so this involved a tractor that had run over a portion of his dad's body, and so very traumatic incident. Our ag leadership team came together and drove Andrew, so he didn't have to drive as he was navigating that situation with his dad. Our ALP class team came together and drove him to Champaign, Illinois, where his dad was going to be in the emergency room. And then as we left the ag leadership program that weekend, I was just thinking about what we can do, what I can do, and then what we can do as a company to help that customer out and help his family out. And so I had put together a small note and a gift to give to Andrew and his family. And then I had reached out to the dealer, which is Cody Musser. He's here today, actually. But Cody had already, by the time I could reach out to Cody had already talked to Andrew's family and put together a full fungicide plan for how they were going to take care of Andrew's farming operation while Andrew was in the hospital with his dad. And so it just speaks to who our dealers are as people, and we're extremely blessed as an organization to have people that just care about each other and fall into that 50-year vision that my dad shares. That's who we are. That's who we need to continue to be to do what we do, and helping farmers succeed is being willing to show up on a farmer's best day and being willing to show up on a farmer's worst day and help support them. So,
thank you. So, Chris, the first time we did panels, it was the year of Lydia's birth, because we weren't sure if you were going to make it to a panel or not based on her birthday. So will she be 3 in a 10 days or so?
August 31st.
August 31st. Okay. So in 3 years, you've had 2 children. And Miles, will he be a year in November? Yeah. Yep. So you've had 2 children in the last 3 years. You've significantly changed your leadership responsibilities in the facilities team, and you're a part of that leadership team that really kind of guides and directs the facilities group. And it's felt from the outside looking in that you've had a pretty big season of growth, just personally and professionally, over the last couple of years. I'm curious how it's felt for you, and maybe kind of what you've learned about yourself in that season.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on, but it's been good, and I've been really fortunate to have a lot of great role models and examples to kind of watch and how they operate and learn from the experiences that they have shared with me about leadership. And so I've been fortunate in that way to just have a lot of great examples. And I think the thing I've learned about myself is just trying to navigate more of, what are the things that I really want to set my priorities to, and make sure that I'm showing up, the best I can to, and what are the things that I have to let go of a little bit, and trust others to put their best foot forward on. And so, that's just, I'm a very particular person, and so I like to have things done a certain way, but I've also learned that others have a way of doing things that is just as good, and so I've been able to learn from that as well. But it's been a really fun season of growth. I really enjoy all the folks that I get to work with and learn from on a daily basis. So
I've got a little color to add to this for Chris. He mentioned he's a a particular person likes to have things a certain way. So he was the only child of our 5 that would voluntarily take it upon himself to organize our pantry or our refrigerator. That's how he's wired.
That's amazing. My son was sitting in the front row. He's gone, but I don't have those children. That's amazing. Okay, so Scott, just sitting here and listening to these three, I've heard these conversations so many times, but every time that they talk about it, hearing both Chris and Jason today talk about how proud they are of Corey for the message that he created and delivered on the stage, like, that's pretty special. They are each unique and have their own God-given skills and strengths, and we're watching them live this out here at Beck's. They're cheering each other on. They're honoring God. They're raising families. The obvious question is, how do you do that? How do you raise men like this and raise leaders who are willing and able to step up and take this organization to the next level?
Yeah, I was. I really, really felt a bit of emotion when Chris said, "I was really proud of Corey," and I think that is such a key. And even personally, something that I have to remind myself of is a quote that says, "When I compare myself to others, I always lose my way," because God has gifted each of us uniquely, created us for His purpose, and it's so easy for us to look at what we don't have or what another person excels at and then feel less than, and that's absolutely not necessary. But it's where we often go as human beings. So, I guess Chantel and I were both very intentional with each of the kids and working to foster what is them and their own personality, their interests. And I think there's the level of intentionalities with each child is what I think has led to some of that. With the parental relationship with each child, to know where they fit, like where they are and their value, and really knowing that those their differences are valued. I think that's important. Knowing that their differences are valued. And I think there's another aspect of parenting that at our church we had a series a couple of years ago. It was a series on parenting, but it was called Raising Parents. and I've heard it said that God gives us kids to grow us up. So parents learn along the way. I mean, we had to learn things along the way that we didn't know. And we stumbled. We didn't do everything right. And so we also said, be present, be persistent, and let God fill in the gaps. And the first two are things that are active. The last two is just realizing that we're not going to do it all right. We haven't done it all right. But God, in your grace and mercy, help to fill in where we missed it. And sometimes that comes with other people in their lives.
I just want to take a minute. I think it's these three and your girls too, or both Jordan and Jaden, are just really impressive human beings. And I know you and Chantel, as you have stepped into leadership roles here at Beck's, as we were going through some really significant growth. You and Chantel together have raised some really amazing young men and women. So I just want to commend you for what you've done, probably so naturally and easily. But we are all thankful. So we are coming up on our time. So I want to end with one last question. And, we talk about like the vision for the future and next generation. Corey and Chris, you guys have started the 6th generation. Okay. So I've seen little people running around here from each of your families this week. And I guess if you think about any other family or any other business that's looking to have a multi-generational company, what advice would you have on raising that next generation to be a part of the business? And I want you to think about it both from how you were raised, and then maybe for you, Corey and Chris, what you've thought about in raising your own children.
I think involvement would probably be the word that I would use. My girls are 3 and 1, and so involvement for them right now just means coming to the office and eating lunch every once in a while and eating ice cream. And that's, Blair knows exactly where the front door to the office is, and she knows exactly where the elevator button is, and then she knows where the ice cream freezer is, and then she knows where my office is, right? So that's just keeping them involved at this age. I think something that I experienced, we all experienced, and hopefully we'll do a good job with this with our girls and future children if we have any, is taking what is involvement, eating ice cream today, and then at some point maybe they work a little bit in the summer, or they do something after school, or they start to go to some events with me. I think that would be the next thought process, is just not pushing, not demanding, not saying you have to do this, but try to create opportunities where they get to be involved, where they develop some connectivity to our business, to our purpose, and they start to find the things that they enjoy about it, and maybe some of the things they don't enjoy about it. And that can serve as a foundation for how they navigate their own decisions later in life and what they want to do, career, family, whatever decisions they're making. But I think the best thing that I can think of now is just involvement.
Yeah, I think I would second that. Having been fortunate to be involved when we were kids, but not just involved on the work side. My dad talked about kind of just trying to be intentional and being present. There was a lot of times where Dad would let us come up here and he'd let us just, run wild through the corporate office or run out in the warehouses and play, climbing up on seed bags and things like that. To where there was an enjoyment for, being here and being present at the business. But then also, allowed us the opportunity to get integrated early on with different departments and, learn about the company in different areas, things you like doing and things you don't like doing. So I like to share that, Dad, he allowed us the opportunity to pull weeds in the organic plot. Okay. That's one of the things you don't like doing. You learn that pretty quickly. But it was, it afforded us the opportunity to be here and be present. And so I think doing that with our own kids, this year's been pretty special for me because Lydia, she's about to turn 3. So she's very active, but she's also at the stage now where, when I'm doing things of an evening here, closing down parking lots, things like that, she wants to come along with me and she wants to help. And so that's a way for me where I can try to fulfill that role of being present with my kids as much as I can in the busy month, but also bringing them along and allowing them to be present here at the company is a pretty special thing. I guess the other side that I would add to that I've been trying to think more about lately is, we kind of, there's a different level of responsibility I think that our generation is going to have with instilling in future generations the foundational elements of the business. And so, teaching them about how this business came to be, teaching them about the faith that we have that carries us through, our decision making, teaching them about how to be generous with the things that God has blessed you with. Those have kind of just really spiked up more on my radar just because now I have kids of my own. It's like, how do I instill in them the things that were instilled in me as a kid as the company continues to grow and there continues to be more opportunity. And, sometimes those things are lost along the way. But when you want to continue to operate as a family-owned independent business, you have to make sure that those are the things that you're continuing to instill in future generations. And so that 50-year vision can continue, and it can be not just a 50-year vision, but an 80-year vision, a 100-year vision. So that's kind of been some things that have kind of been on my radar as I think about my own kids or the next generation of kids. So.
Jason, anything to add from your perspective of growing up in this business and what happened that made you want to be a part of it?
I think I love what Chris and Corey both shared on the intentionality. I have very great memories of Dad inviting us up to spend time at the office, and he was always very, very intentional about time spent with us kids. So I know that's something that I want to do, and my future family is to continue with that theme of intentionality. And I think everything we do here and moving into future generations is built on the foundation of our faith. And so I envision that and we all envision that as the number one thing that we've got to stay true to and remain focused on moving forward is who we are as people. And that is first that we all belong to Jesus Christ, and he is our Savior. And so instilling that in the future generation and allowing our employees to believe in Jesus as well, and the impact that being a faith-centered business can have on those that are around us from an employee standpoint, our customers, our dealer network. That's the foundation of who we are, and that's what everything is built off of. So.
And that's a great place to end. I mentioned earlier, we've been doing these for about 3 years, and every time I'm like, are we getting close to kind of ending this? Has it run its course? And but I'm reminded every time that what you share is so important. And even every time we talk, there's more layers that get developed as your lives change, as messages change. And so just continuing to open up with us and share what's happening is something that we value and appreciate. So thank you for being here this afternoon, and thank you for sharing.